Now that we've got the walk, run, and idle, let's go ahead and look at placing in a crouch animation for our character. Before we do that, let me just do a couple more comments here. Again, just taking some time. Each time you write some code, just write out a few comments for it. This one, we just want to say it's the move. Actually, it's kind of the run. We'll do this one, which is left. So run based on run speed. Say run left. And same thing for this one. This will be running right. Actually, we'll just say move run right based on run speed. Okay. Alright, so now that we've got our walks and our runs all complete, let's move into a crouch type of animation system for it. For crouching, what do we want the player to actually do? If we were to check on our control scheme that we had, the idea for it is that we wanted to be able to, let's see, crouch. This one is going to be pushing down. We'll be able to go into a crouch state. Alright, so for the controls, then let's go ahead and check on that. So in order to crouch, do you want to be able to run while you're crouching, or be able to, you have to, like, say for instance, we make some rules for it, is that you have to actually be stopped. So if we do it that way, we could say that if the velocity dot x is going to be, actually for this one we could say it's going to be equal to 0, and we could even check for the get axis. Make sure this is actually capital. So if our input get axis is going to equal down, which means our vertical. So remember, we have our horizontal and our vertical. Well, the vertical, let me make sure this is in quotes. The vertical option is going to be up and down. Well, in order to make sure that we're checking for the right thing on the axis, all we have to do is say that it's less than 0. That means that if you're pushing down on the arrow key, if you're pushing S, or if you're pushing down on the D-pad, then it'll actually know that you're going down. Alright, so if we're checking for no movement, and we're checking that the button press on the vertical side is actually down, in the downward direction, that we could actually play a different sprite. So we'll have our animation sprite here. Let me just copy this. We'll say that the animation for this one is going to be the crouching, and the animation sprite for crouching down is going to be 16, 16, 0, 9, and then we'll do a 16 and a 24 on that one. Alright, so let's go ahead and save this one here, and we'll test it out. And remember, the crouching right now is set inside the is grounded, so the player has to be on the ground to build a crouch. There's no velocity. If I push down, you'll notice that the player actually goes into the crouching animation state. So he goes down and crouches, and at the moment, the only animation state it plays is the one direction, so we need to actually figure out which direction the player is facing before we actually crouch down. Alright, so let's go ahead and get back out of here, and let's start off with this again. So we could actually say that on our crouching, let's do this one, let's actually kind of do it a little bit differently here. Let's state everything inside of this one check, so that both directions will be checked inside of here. Alright, so let's say that once we have our check and it says that the player is supposed to crouch, then let's check which direction the player is actually facing. Alright, so we'll say if the move direction is equal to 0, we'll be facing, we want to crouch left. Alright, and this one, let's go ahead and just place in blocks for here. Alright, so we have a move direction equal to 0. This is going to be having the player crouching to the left. And then we can also say that, again, if the move direction is equal to 1, and if it is, then we just want to be able to have our player play the other animation. We'll just copy this. Alright. So the player for this one is going to crouch to the right, and we want to play the right animation for this one. Crouching to the right is going to be for the row is actually going to be at 8. So it'll be 16, 16, 0, 8, and then we'll do 16 frames at 24 frames a second. Alright, now this by itself automatically sets it up so that the moment you push down on the pad, or you push the down arrow, it's going to take whatever that previous direction was, and it's going to play the right frame of animation for it. Alright, so let's go ahead and save this out. We'll take a look at it now. So when I play, if I'm facing this direction, when I push down, he faces that direction. If I turn the direction this way, push down, he faces this direction. Alright, so now we have the character actually able to crouch down. Interesting element here, though, let's double check. If I push down, but then push to the side, okay? Now notice that when I push down and push to the side, he actually pulls out of the state that he was in. Alright, we can actually add to it here so that we can guarantee that he won't be moving. It's going to keep him from moving any direction. Let's say, for instance, if this is pushed down, meaning that if we're at a vertical down point right here, let's actually take our velocity of our player. And this is more of just of a choice individually is that you can make, is that if I want to take my velocity, I'm actually going to make my velocity equal to 0. This is just to guarantee that there's not going to be any movement as long as the player is crouching. So we can say that this one keeps, there we go, keep player from moving. And again, same thing for the next one. I'll just set a velocity up on this. It's going to equal 0 as well. Alright. And we'll do another keep player from moving. Alright. So if we have the velocity set to 0, meaning the horizontal left and right, when we go to play this one again, and once it comes up, if I'm pushing down, it's going to make sure that he doesn't slide or do anything on a left and right movement. Alright, so with keeping him in that one spot, just as a check to be sure nothing's going to happen to him, we'll be able to make sure he stays in that one spot. Now we have the ability to, again, walk left, right, run left, right, crouch down on both directions. This will give us our crouching that we need to do for it. The next thing that we're going to look at is going to be setting up the jump system for it and making sure he's going to be able to jump from a regular walk to a run jump and a crouch jump.